G'day, friends and fans. Welcome to Dave Talk Stuff. You know, sitting in the theatre, particularly as a kid, you never really notice how tuned out people are. Sitting, the meme of people sitting in the theatre gawking at the screen, slack-jawed. That's a stereotype for a reason. It's real. And women, particularly young women, aren't watching the story. Some are envying the women on screen, no doubt. But most, they're fantasizing that they're getting their field plowed by that stud on the screen and that he is super simp. And you can imagine, right, from the age of sexual awareness onwards, that women are doing this day in, day out, how brain rotted they've become. But it's an interesting point that the last brain cells left glow with what's left of self-preservation. But the dark agenda is about the hypersexualization of women. And feminism isn't liberating women from sex and sexuality or unwanted desires. No, it is turning them into objects of desire and turning them into brain-rotted objects that have no filter. No, of course I'll do sex for the 15th time today. Oh, you're just... it's all warmed up for you. It's all nice and soft and creamy inside. You like the cream pie? I got 15 flavors for you. But that is the reality, right? That intersectional feminism is not anti-cheating, but is pro-cheating. It is not the betrayal of feminism, it is the norm of feminism. The massive difference between second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and it is crashing. Feminism can no longer define itself. Of course, it all stems from daddy issues, right? It's a severe lack of discipline. And of course, this all comes from the fact that parents didn't spank their kids. And this woman definitely needs... Now, ironically, a woman has done just that. A woman, in the mainstream media of all places, has decided to spank Rachel Foster publicly and say to her, "Shut up!" But the thing is, she said the quiet part out loud. Women are devious. Oh, breaking headlines, everybody. The women are the devious. Oh no, who knew? But she says she has zero faith in women. What a shock. What a surprise. Surprise, everybody, that you can't trust women. Oh no. So this is a woman talking to TV extra Luke King about double standards for men and women. That Rachel Foster could say, oh, it's better than Botox. It made me feel younger. That's just because you had a big boost of estrogen and dopamine. So you're the loopy. And the estrogen makes your skin soft and glowy. But that's actually fat expelling through your pores. Fat and feces, of course. But don't let biology get in the way of your emotions, right? Or reality, because you're still a thick cunt. You didn't lose weight. Botox? Nah. You got a face. You're fat, all right? you're fat. All right? It wasn't the cheating. It was cheating on a diet. She didn't cheat with a man. She cheated on a diet, everybody. But Luke here is talking about how the fact that, what if a man talked about cheating the way she did? Cheating on women's empowering. It's all right. Women should just shut up and return to the kitchen. Woohoo, everybody! Would the fascists be upset? But after being cheated on twice, wow. That's not even the average. It's 4. Right? That's just what he knows of. The average is 4 times. Right? You are going to be... Every man is cheated on. That's the sad, sick reality of this world. That those who demand men's absolute loyalty and trust are untrustworthy. What a surprise. Those who shout the loudest are the most devious and cunning and deceptive and a home-wrecking narcissist who doesn't give a flying fuck about anybody or anything but their pussy. But cheating is so common that almost every man has been cheated on, that almost more than half the population has had sex more than 4 times during this with different 4 different people while in a relationship at one time in their life or more. And in some countries it's more often, right? But the hope and dreams, the message society says that all you have to do is find a loving wife and enter in a monogamous relationship of marriage, that all your problems go away. But no, they cheat. But if a man cheats, he's condemned. Whereas women, it's not just a slap on the wrist, it's a pat on the back. It is a celebration. What a shock that a man in his 20s, a rich, successful cook, I think, or at least a TV personality, finds it easy to get older women. Some, of course, are 20 years older. That's the average. Of course, she taught him a thing or two, and then, of course, while he was thinking he was God, she's on the phone going through Tinder looking for the next hookup. But she's also using him as a free meal, a free home. Yeah. And while he's out working, she's out cheating. And she's always on the phone, or always giggling and putting the phone down when it enters. Yeah, all the same things, right? Betrayal. And, of course, that's the point of betrayal, right? Is to turn you into a sore, bitter, lonely old man who will throw himself into his work. Work is the answer, everybody. Because we're watching the dark agenda unfold. The industrialized slavery of man. You know, where you work 6 to 8 hours of extra overtime every week, often unpaid. But there she is. What a fat cow, right? And you can see the difference in the photos, man. Right? That's the actual photo. That's the actual photo there. Oops, wrong one. Right there. See, that's the same photo, slightly. But, right, this fat cow, right, this slut, thinks she's uber sexy, right? All she does is go out and find desperate young men, you know, PUAs, you know, they target you, right? PUAs are seen as the prime target because they are king simps. So if you're a PUA, you're a fuckwit, right? You're not successful because you're a PUA, right? You're not good as a pickup artist. You're just signaling to women that you're an easy target for them to get a free meal, right? And for Fatty here to validate herself by getting a fuck. And you can see, right, the varicose veins, The body degeneration is already starting to show, right? The bruising of the face, the sagging of her body, right? Her body is bloating, she's sagging, right? But then the Botox, nah, Botox. Yeah, so she knows all about Botox, right? All about faking her appearance, hiding behind makeup. So of course she's going to be hiding her emotions. All the warning signs. They're flirtatious. They're secretive. They're always joking when you're away, or you walk in and you only get the giggles, right? The brush offs, the always busy, the never in the mood, the lack of priority for the relationship. They're all signs of cheating. Now, cheating comes in many forms. It's not always just the sex, but women always have they always have the emotional letdown that nothing is ever good enough, right? So every cheat, they got to, oh no, that wasn't good enough. Oh, I must have 2, no, 3, no, 4. I must have every hole in every hand in between my toes, and then they get 1,000 men doing a train on them, and they're still not satisfied. I need to cut away from that. I really need to cut away from that. But for now, right, you all know that it's all driven by feminism, right? All desired.
You like eating red carpet, tough guy?
Yes!
Say you like eating red carpet!
I like eating red carpet!
Giggity.
But right? It's female empowerment means that she rams your head into that red carpet and then walks away feeling that she is the queen. And that, I'm busy. I gotta clean my house so much. I'm the queen, I'm 62, but I look younger. It's all about their freaking ego, right? But it's a dark agenda. Because cheating isn't empowering, right? Now, the feminists will argue that infidelity is a feminist issue. But however, feminists are now split. Actually, core feminism is split down the middle, right? You have the J.K. Rowling feminists, and you have the Jane Fonda feminists. So you have many issues, but the core feminist critique on society was, and still maintains, that men's infidelity is inexcusable, that they demonize women, that they treat women as disposable objects, and that it's a power imbalance. So the controversy perspective is that cheating is empowerment, right? You're just giving the boy, you're just being equal with the boys. You're just equaling the playing field. You're giving you as good as you get. That some authors, such as Joe Piazza, she argues that affairs allow women to rediscover their sexuality and find themselves out of the traditional roles of wife and mother. I'm just finding myself. Yeah. But again, they can't define it, right? They can't actually argue, right? They create these ethereal, distant, it's like trying to explain manna, right? You know what manna is, but because you can't see it, you can't see ether, you can't see, but you know what they are. They're concepts of energy, right? But she's some far off, fantasy, this unicorn of finding yourself. If you don't know who you are by 35, you're a fucking dead shit, right? You're a dumb shit, right? You know who you are. The problem finding yourself is code for I'm having a midlife crisis. My ego is shattered. I'm getting old. I'm looking in the mirror and sagging. Men no longer look at me as if I'm a sex object. So you're a sex object. They cannot reconcile their beliefs. So they go on this. So they have a schizoid. Schizoid, split. They. That's what finding yourself is. They're having a schizoid split from reality. Right? They don't know who they are anymore because, one, the sisterhood has betrayed them, pumping their head full of false promises. Right? They have a personality disorder as a result of the inability to be honest. Right? Women have a very massive inability to be honest. They don't know what they want. Right? They think they want you, but as soon as you can't satisfy them, they want multiple men, and as soon as multiple men can't cure their disease, they want multiple women. And often they don't cheat physically, they cheat emotionally. Cheating is about creating an emotional distance, right? That's what they do. They backing off from you by cheating emotionally and physically. That's why they watch these movies where they can gawk at what's his name? Guy recently, big actor. Women are all over him. Chris Hemsworth. They don't gawk at him because he's a great actor. They gawk at his physicality and imagine him ploughing the field. But because their imagination is always way up here, because you can imagine your physical responses to sex better than your biological responses to sex. Because your body's physicality does not care about your desire for an hour of sex. It just responds in the reservoir of biological hormones, the reservoir of body fluids. There are the state of your nerve endings. There are so many factors, right? And none of them have to do with your brain. There's a disconnect between your brain right now and your physical awareness of your body's functions, right? And I think ultimately you'll be betrayed, right? If your movement keeps telling you to lie, keeps telling you to cheat, keeps telling you to deceive, to rob, to demean, to demonize men, that's a hate group, right? You're in a hate group. MGTOW is telling men to enjoy life, go your own way, do your own thing, be your own person, and tells you the things to avoid that will cause you the most harm. Right? But society and economically, divorce is not just socially, but infidelity by feminism is seen as an indication that relationships are dysfunctional. Therefore, marriage must be dissolved just because it's not perfect, right? And there you get at the core of the heteropatriarchal institution of marriage. It's not about the individuals within it. It's about destroying anything that is competition to their power base. And that ultimately, cheating is not empowerment, right? You've seen the T-shirts in Target recently, limited edition T-shirts being all over every Valentine's, right? Coming up to Valentine's Day, you see big hearts with "I hate you," "fuck off," "I'm single." You are starting to see more and more hate content in major retail outlets, right? Women are having more affairs than ever. Again, another article by women who are actually realizing that infidelity is framed as positive, progressive, and activism or reparations. Reparations, my friend, rolling of course, breaking from misogyny. women's groups have created an entire fan base around this show, Obsession, and how this is a movement driven by Joe Piazza, that cheating is an act of self-care, that every feminist podcast is just another act. That some of them hit 5 million views per episode, and of course the whole thing is, could you imagine if Andrew Tate sold this t-shirt? The outrage of women, right? Because ultimately, right, women are the ones selling these products. They're not men, right? Women are objectifying women, because here's the fallout. Most women, when they cheat, either become or head to the lesbian side, the dark side of feminism. The lesbians, the the women who cling to other women. Because again, there's a lot of women who cling to other women who don't have sex, but it's still a lesbian relationship, right? It's still, they're all talking to each other constantly. I've signed off men. I've signed off men. All they talk about is how they've signed off men. Right? And these bitter lesbians, they find married women and and talk them into becoming the part of their little feminist collective with their little tea parties and their gatherings, and they're just constantly trying to validate each other, right? And everything is marketing. Our looks, our personalities, our relationships. We're taught to be optimizing. And men do optimize naturally, right? We optimize our lives to the best outcome, right? Now, a lot of women, right, are bombarded with corporate marketing, right? And I guarantee you, at least once a day, you're going to see ads for lesbian relationships, whether it's whether it's a wellness company with women's only gyms, or female figures in our culture who stand up and say, I'm a lesbian. But however, girls these days want something real. They want real guidance. They don't want feminists, they want matriarchs. Mothers who teach them to be mothers. Grandmothers who teach them to be grandmothers. A lineage of women who pass on love, respect, not just for your fellow man, but yourself. Respect yourself first. Don't be a slut. Don't be a vine chaser. Women, if you want to keep a man, you've got to be a cocksucker. But the first off the bat, that's what these young girls do. They race into the locker room of the football club, suck all the cocks to see who's going, Then in college, they're sucking off the professors. Then by the time they get to the corporate world, they're sucking their boss on a regular basis. Then when it comes time for a relationship, I'm busy. I'm tired. Because they've exhausted their reserves. They've exhausted their energy. They've killed all respect, right? Women are stripping themselves of freedom and autonomy by being a slut. You become an addict. You become a sex toy. Toys are passed around and discarded. Not you, my toys. No. My toy collection. You're forever, dear. Don't worry. But I mean, all of us have precious things in our life. But women do not treat relationships as precious. Women do not treat their words as guidance or actual advice. They don't pass on what has worked. They pass on hatred of the past because of the failures of the few. Right? Exploitation. Capitalism is always the worst system until you compare it to everything else. It's always the worst, right? Familiarity breeds contempt. You can't, the grass is greener on the other side. We all failed when we don't pass on not just the common everyday sayings that used to be guidance in our lives. We fail when we don't give it meaning, when we don't give it context. If you're a respectful mother and respectful woman, you don't bring sex addicts into your life and you don't become one, right? Because I can guarantee you, women, particularly lesbians, will go from mother to daughter like that because they don't care. All they want is that tingle. Hit the middle C. They treat old women like expired products, but feminism is always like that. They've always treated old women as disposable products, right? They're always looking for the next feminist icon, right? Move over Jane Fonda, we've got J.K. Rowling. Move over J.K. Rowling, we've got Joe Pisa. All right, and soon, and look at politicians. Move over Kamala, we've got AOC. And AOC is now fighting off, what's that hot young blonde? Tim Walz's daughter. Come on, you got to admit there is some still hotness there. I mean, just as soon as you hear the name Waltz, of course, you go, oh. But women believe, particularly feminists, that they're incapable of making bad decisions. That's how narcissists they really are. And they shriek, you go, girl, even if they've destroyed their own life. But not every choice women make are a good or a bad one for the long-term well-being of themselves or others, because it's just the same for men. Everyone's going to make mistakes. Everyone's going to have a failing. Sometimes humans are destructive. Sometimes we do the wrong thing. We agree, right, that you have a right to choose. But if you choose to be a cheat, don't expect men to choose you ever again. Right? You have to also, but women, particularly feminists, want to be free from consequence. And society just ain't having it. Particularly women who see that the only way to protect themselves is to destroy feminism. Because if they don't, because they've gone through college and they see the young girls today be under so much pressure from every female politician, from every female celebrity, from left and right. They see conform to our group, conform to, and even Erica Kirk. She ain't Charlie, and it ain't catching on. People don't want Erica. People don't want Candace Owens. The Turning Point USA movement doesn't want a new Charlie. They want a continuation of Charlie's work. They don't want another icon. They don't want but they need a leader. But they don't want Erica. They don't want a woman, right? They don't want female pastors. They don't, like a lot of women, right? They don't want women. They don't want girl bosses, whether it's left or right. They don't want to go to a movie and fantasize about the female Hulk. These power fantasies are good in small doses, but in the long run, the majority of content is not being made anymore. Where you used to be able to see comedies, sex movies. You didn't have to watch them all, right? Action movies. In action movies, you had your sci-fis, but they hate sci-fi. So they hate Marvel. They run every sci-fi property into the ground. Again, it's feminists making bad decisions. But their decisions don't just affect them personally, right? But they hate, they want their content. Just go and make it. Right? Just go make your content. Right? And if only 50 people go see your movie, your girl boss movie, don't be surprised. But Kathleen Kennedy can't handle that. She can't handle the fact that most people only think of her as that guy's wife, or that guy who was in, or that bitch who self-inserted herself into an Indiana Jones movie, or that bitch who sucked off Steven Spielberg and got passed around a few times until she was forced on the George Lucas by the California Board of Equity and Outcome and Employment. So, yeah, he was forced to have a female executive, and she stacked the board with females. What a shock! There was no equal outcome. Because that's the dark side of feminism. It's not about equality or equity. It's about power. Thank you all for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and please support the channel. You can support me on Patreon, Ko-Fi, buy my books, buy my merch. All my links are in the link tree in the description below. Thank you. I appreciate each and every one of you. See you in the next video, and bye for now.